Namaste, hello all. Welcome to another episode of the Oz Moms Diaries. I again want to thank each and every one of you for constantly supporting the channel. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for encouraging these inspiring moms and helping them share their wonderful stories. Today, we have a wonderful Osmom guest who belongs to a beautiful exotic land. When you're here, you will find yourself sipping on some Ceylon tea and overlooking beautiful, lush green scenery. You guessed it right, I'm talking about Sri Lanka. Hiruni Virakun is from the beautiful country of Sri Lanka. She is a wonderful mom to her two sons and lives with her family that consists of a husband and sons here in the Seattle, Washington area. Hiruni did her higher education in the biomedical field, but she also went on to pursue her postgraduate degree in teaching, and she became a teacher, shaping young minds and preparing them for the future. Hiruni is also very passionate about baking, and she does some super fantastic things with her kids in terms of activities. So, we're going to talk about all this and more with Hiruni today. So, let's welcome Hiruni to the Oz Moms Diaries. So, Hiruni, you're from the gorgeous country of Sri Lanka. So, could you please share with us about your wonderful childhood there and your upbringing?
So Deepthi, I'm an only child. But my parents had a lot of siblings. So I have been gifted with a lot of cousins, and my mother's side, they were living next doors. So I grew up with a lot of aunts and uncles in the same plot of land, and then a lot of cousins. And I have this vivid memories of traveling from Colombo, where I lived, to Kandy to see my grandmother. That's my paternal grandmother, for New Year, Sinhala New Year. So all my cousins would come over, and we would have this lavish table of sweetmeats.
Wow.
And share one another's company. And we are also a religious family. So at least once a month, we would go to temple. So growing up, I had a good background in a religious upbringing, valuing our culture and where we come from as a country. And we also saw the differences. So in our country, we have different mixture of races and religions. So respect and is something that we learned by living with one another.
Right.
And also adaptability, like from one place to another when you travel, the socioeconomic side is totally different.
Yeah.
So adaptability for different environments is something that I learned at a very young age, and I'm thankful for my parents for teaching that. And
Wonderful.
Anyway.
Wonderful. That's really awesome. And what are some of the festivals that you guys celebrate in Sri Lanka?
So we celebrate Sinhala New Year, Sinhala and Tamil New Year in April, on 14th of April.
Okay.
And then as Buddhists, the birth, enlightenment, and parinirvana of Buddha is celebrated in the full moon Poya day of Vesak.
Okay.
Then we celebrate the Hindu religious activities, religious event, holidays, and Muslim, and obviously Christmas and Easter.
Nice.
So yeah, we have neighbors who are of different religions. So for Ramadan, we'll get a bowl of vatlapang, or for Hindu celebrations, we'll get a bowl of pungal rice. So
Right.
this is how we grew up in our little island.
That's so wonderful, right? To have all the diverse people around and celebrations around.
In Ireland, I think we had a lot of diversity, and we were welcoming that change. And we're a hospitable nation that way.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard so much about the hospitality there.
You come any time of the day to our house, and our doors are open, and we'll greet you with a cup of tea.
So you did all your schooling in Sri Lanka, is that right?
Yes, up till my high school, I was in Sri Lanka. For college, I went to Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was it moving out of Sri Lanka for the first time? Were you on your own, or did you go with somebody?
First time, well, yes, it was on my own, but we had Sri Lankan friends studying together in the same college.
Mm-hmm.
But my move was coming here. I found my husband after our marriage.
Okay.
So then, yeah, it was a big change. It was, and also like college was going back, but here you're here in US for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you came here first to the US, how was it? Did you have any like a cultural shock? And did you have difficulty in adapting to the ways here?
Right. So, as I told you before, I am quite an adaptable person depending on the
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
But what I found difficult was making new friends, making new connections. That's long-lasting connections.
Mm-hmm.
Sri Lanka is a very warm place. People are very friendly. They would open up to you, make friends. Very hospitable nation. So
Yeah.
there were instances where I would work away from Colombo, and then instantaneously we would make a new family, like friends like family away.
Okay.
But that was not the same when I came to Seattle. So that was a little bit of a difficult part, adjustment.
Yeah.
And then being able to do things by your own, like, don't have anyone to rely on.
Yeah. True.
So you got to drive, you got to do it all by yourself. So that's
Right.
a bit difficult coming from a kind of a conservative
True.
society. Yeah.
So you did your education in the biomedical field, right? So how did you end up being a teacher then?
Well, that was a coincidence. So I finished my degree. I came back to Sri Lanka, and then my mother's boss, she was working as administrator for school. So he told me to just come over and do it just like an internship. So I enjoyed, because I liked doing performative actions. Like I enjoyed doing PowerPoint presentations during college. So teaching for me was at the beginning was doing a good lesson, presenting a good lesson, and keeping my learners engaged. So I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I got younger learners, so they were very productive. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And how does it feel? Are you still in touch with any of your students? How does it feel when they have grown up and they have moved on to become, professionals or things like that? Have you had any such experiences?
Yeah, so I'm in touch with some of them. Mostly the ones who I taught the first year. So now they have graduated from college, and they are in different fields. So recently I had a message from one of my students who's a doctor, who's a gynecologist, and he messaged to say that he handled the first delivery of triplets.
Oh my God.
Yes, so that was it was a big achievement for myself as well.
Definitely.
Something not I can do by myself. Now I have all these little girls and boys who have grown up to young men and women who are doing wonderful things. So I feel blessed. I feel so amazed by what I've done. Yeah.
True. Wonderful. And so did that experience handling students help you in any way with your own children?
They're difficult. Definitely difficult. School students are much better behaved. They would listen to me better than my own. But I think, yes, I'm able to learn and grow with them, with my own kids, because I have that passion for learning in newer ways, in innovative ways. Yes.
Right.
So, yeah.
So we'll talk more about that in a short while. Tell us about your motherhood journey. How was it becoming a mother the first time, and how was it becoming a mother the second time? Was there any difference? Were you more experienced?
I think so. Second time around, I know what I'm going to be struck by. I had really bad nausea, and then I had no help here. So it was tough. It was a tough time. I wish I had more people to take care of myself when I'm in that position.
Right.
But second time around, you're stronger, and the older one keeps you happy. It's just I was struggling through the first few months of pregnancy, postpartum, and then my older one would always it was nice seeing him. He would always cheer me up. So second time around is like a happier,
right.
much more of experience that you can enjoy.
Right. And let's talk about some of the challenges of motherhood, which are less talked about. People usually talk about the rosy side of it or the happier side of it. But there are many moms who think, oh, maybe I'm the only one going through this, but it's normal to go through things, normal to feel low on certain days. So how do you handle your ups and downs in your motherhood?
Right. So I think the most important thing is that you have that support group, that you have someone to talk to, someone to vent to. sometimes your husband doesn't understand you that well, because we juggle through a different chapter in life and different set of tasks. So it's always nice to have mommy friends who you can relate to, that you have similar values, and that you can, like, at the end of the day, talk about it and get some advice. So that has been great. And then I would like to recommend the local magazines. I mean, Parent Map, they come up with, like, every month they would publish different activities that you do. So it's something that you can take your kid and go. So that was something I was looking forward to. Every pediatrician visit, I would grab a copy and read up, and then just make myself out of the door. And that was something that kept me going. And also exercise. For me, I think if I don't do exercise regularly, I'm a very cranky person.
Also, you do some amazing things to keep your kids engaged, especially during this lockdown period. I've been following you on social media, and it's very interesting. So how did you come up with the idea of, so you visit different places and, do different things belonging to that place, right? So tell us about that.
I was quite frustrated about this time, staying at home with 2 kids with full of energy. So one of my friends came up with this idea of doing topics per day. So that just lit up my bulb. And then, so we do different topics for the week, like some interesting topics. And then we have one day to explore the world. So I mean, this year we will not be able to travel. So this is the only way to travel places, and we could travel fast. There's so much information out there that you use on YouTube. So I make use of that. So we keep it interesting. I make them explore the world with me, and then I'm learning with them. And we also have another day to learn about the language, just Sinhala language, and a little bit about the religious studies and morals and values. So I did this. It was a small scale. I was doing it at home, but then I thought I should publish it on Facebook, because I thought it's worth sharing it with moms who stay at home for the first time and take care of the kids. So it was mainly published for moms back home, to widen their knowledge about what things to do.
There's one other question that I wanted to ask you. So since we belong, to, like, I belong to India, you belong to Sri Lanka, how do you balance the cultural aspect with your kids, because they were born here? So how do you make sure you imbibe a little bit of your roots, in them?
Right. So I'd send them to temple school, where they'll learn the religion and the language. And at home, I live by example. I do things and I try to explain to them why I'm doing it. So, for example, if I cook a meal for expecting mom, I would tell the boys. I think that's important for them, especially in boys, to learn to have sensitivity towards the needs of a mom, and to know that way. So I do that, and we celebrate the cultural events at home. So we dress up, and then I think it's important to sow the seeds from a very young age. And they're looking forward to it.
So I have a fun rapid fire round. So are you ready?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. So please teach us a phrase in the beautiful Sinhala language.
Okay, so I'm going to teach a word which has utmost meaning in it. So this is our greeting, our own greeting, where we keep the palms together and we sit upright and we say Ayubovan. So
Ayubovan.
Yes, Ayubovan means may you be blessed with long life.
Okay.
Ayubovan.
Yes. That's beautiful. Beautiful. It's such a beautiful language. I really enjoy watching some, I follow some people on YouTube who live there and show the life there, and I really enjoy it. And I wish I could go there someday.
Yes, you should visit us. And then I have to do it likewise to India, explore.
Definitely, you should. So when you think about Sri Lanka, something that has fascinated me, are the beautiful sounding names. Especially the cricket team, we used to be so fascinated with saying the names. We used to just say it because it was so fun to say. So do you know, like, if there is how do you name people back in Sri Lanka? Do you know if there is any
last name you're talking about, or the first name?
Yes, the last name actually.
The last name you kind of inherit so from your father.
Okay.
So I guess it tells you about, it's got to do something to do with which part of the country they are, what kind of job they have done for the king, how they have served the king in king's days. So I have a longer surname too, and my husband always makes fun of it because it's difficult to put it on passport or put it in.
Okay.
Most of our language is nourished by Pali and Sanskrit. So thanks to India, we have a closer bond.
Yes.
In like Ganga, same as for you all, we Ganga means river for us as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but long names are inherited from our fathers. Yes.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful. So one favorite mommy hack you would want to share, which has helped you, something you have done with the kids, or
okay. So I will share something that's important around this time. So during COVID time, when school year starts, I always plan ahead for the week. So I planned activities for the week. Okay. So that way I know, I look at the weather and I plan a time to go out, and other days I do things at home. So we are going into winter. So we have to plan according to the weather. And so that way we know what you're doing for the day. Otherwise it gets quite frustrating.
Yeah.
Waking up before the kids and getting ready for the day is number one for your sanity.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I agree with that. You are a passionate baker, I believe, right?
Yes. Yeah, I like to bake. Yes, and my son's involved too. So they would always ask for a cake, or they want to be involved. So we want to do things at home. Yes.
Right. That's sweet. So it's a nice bonding time to bake together, right?
Right. And then I have, so I like the artistic part of it. I like molding figures. So I make my kids' own birthday cakes.
Nice.
So it's fun doing that. And they are all like always looking forward to that experience.
Wonderful, Hironi. And is there a final word of, not advice, but something you would like to say to the fellow moms, as it could be a word of comfort, it could be a word of reassurance, anything you want to say?
For moms, I would say, for one another, you could have listen, respect, and care. I mean, you should, like we women talk a lot. So, and that's our way of healing. So you have to be supportive of one another, especially away from your own country. You have to be a listening friend, a good listener. You have to listen, and you have to respect for what different people come from different backgrounds, and they bring different baggages at the end of the day, right?
True. That's
true. You have to respect where you're coming from, and also have a care, like watch out for each other. Like, I know you drop me a mail and check on me all the time.
Right.
Wonderful, like to be connected, because you need that support.
Right. So I think that's all the questions I have for you, Hironi. So that brings us to the end of the interview. So thank you so much. It was so wonderful talking to you and, getting new insights from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking me aboard on this quest and making me part of the big family.
Sure.
And I hope this will enlighten. You've done a series, and I watch them, and I watch other moms and learn and grow. It's a perfect platform, and I hope, as somebody who is into media, that you will take this knowledge and make a book or do more work out of it.
God willing. Thank you so much.